Hello, everyone. It's your friend Tristan Miller. I'm just here to inform you that I'm recording my first stand-up comedy album and special on May the 4th in New York City at Caveat at 4 p.m. You can go to the link in my bio on my social media platforms, or you can go to caveat.com, go to May the 4th, and buy tickets there. Highly recommend that you get them early as they are cheaper that way. Also, after the show, I'm going to go. Phantom Menace is playing in theaters. So I'm going to take a big group to go to the nearest AMC or whatever Cineplex and go see my favorite Star Wars movie. I'll say it. I'll say it with my full chest. My favorite Star Wars movie in theaters again. So hope to see you at both things. If you have to pick one, just pick my show, please. I would like to sell out the house if possible. Anyway, love you. Hope to see you soon. Okay, bye-bye. Coming soon to theaters, podcasts, film reviews, and so much more. Available at tristanmiller.substack.com.
And now, our feature presentation.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Focus Testing, a podcast about movies where we make a movie. My name is Tristan Miller, and joining me today is Hotene. How are you, Hoani?
I'm doing good, man. It's really nice to be here. It'd be nice to be a returning podcast guy.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to have you back. Last time you were in Wellington. We recorded in a very suspicious
Yes, that tiny little hostel room.
yeah,
Yeah, which was
massive echo.
It's crazy that the film we made wasn't like some Saw style horror film based on where we were recording. Yeah.
100%. But now you're up in Tomakimakoro, Auckland. How's the change been? Have you been enjoying Auckland?
Yeah, I think so. We moved, like, me and my partner moved into a place like, I don't know, maybe 3 months ago. That's
Mhm.
like super central to the city, because before that we were like pretty far away. But no, it is like, it's funny, like being around good food that's open late has made such a big difference. Yeah.
Yeah, that absolutely tracks. Because like, even by my New Yorker standards, Auckland's pretty sleepy. But like, I would
Oh my
imagine.
God. Yeah. After
You,
6 p.m., everything's closed.
yeah, it's crazy. Cafes close at 3 p.m., which is when I need my second cup of coffee. I'm like, guys, get it together, please.
Yeah, what the hell?
Oh.
Yeah, Auckland is the sleepy city, I would say.
Yes. But I would say even, but like compared to Wellington, I would imagine it's still like gone up. And particularly if you're doing like sets of the classic or whatever, like going out on Queen Street and be like, okay, fuck, it's like past midnight, what's open? But yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, I
Um,
think oh yeah. No, I think definitely having like 100 people at a show pretty consistently is like pretty
mm,
amazing. You know what I mean?
100%, yeah. Um, I don't think I asked you this last time. When did you start doing stand-up comedy? Like, what was the genesis
Mm,
there?
I started at about end of 2020. So it was kind of
Mm,
like, man, what was it? It would have been a few months after the big lockdown, I think. And then yeah, I was just taking some classes at uni, and we found like a place where people were doing like music gigs at their house, and we were doing
mm,
like a doco class. So we were doing like a doco about them, and then we became friends with them, and they decided to do a stand-up night one night instead of music. And I just did stand-up with them. Like, I'd always loved stand-up, but like that was kind of, if that hadn't happened, I don't think I would have done stand-up maybe ever, you know.
mm.
So yeah, they had a stand-up night at their pretty big flat, had about 30, 40 people there.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. And everyone else was, maybe some people were musicians, some people were poets, few people were stand-up comedians as well, but like kind of in the open mic scene.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it was so fun. Like, it
Yeah.
just went so great. You know what I mean? Like, I know it was like about the warmest conditions I could have done it in, but
Mm.
even then it was like, it just kind of had me shaking with adrenaline.
Yeah.
So then I just kind of kept doing it, and then just said, if I suck, I'll stop. And
And has yet to happen.
oh, it's definitely happened. But I haven't sucked consistently for a long period of time, long enough to
hmm
make me question whether or not it'll ever come back.
Sure,
Yeah.
yeah. You do get, I feel like as a comic, you get kind of locked into weeks where you're like, do I have the juice still? What's going on? But
Yeah.
I would imagine though you were just doing a tour with Joe Damon, and I would imagine that consistency as well, like touring around, and you really got your like your reps in, and you really have a solid understanding of who you are on stage now compared to when you first started.
Yeah. I mean, I think the big thing for that was that's like the first time where I was consistently performing in front of, 400 people, you know what I
Wow,
mean?
that's
Yeah,
incredible.
but it's
What a gift.
yeah, I mean the set really didn't change very much from show to show. So like in
hmm
terms of the writing of what I was doing, it was like pretty consistent. But then it is funny because then we did a show to finish like the comedy fest. We did it at Sky City,
Yeah.
and that's like, 700 people.
hmm
But it only been like a month since I was there, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like yeah, that kind of anxiety about
hmm
performing in front of a big crowd like that, particularly when I'm just kind of doing a short piece.
hmm
It wasn't really there. But
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah,
That
learned heaps
absolutely.
of lessons from that tour.
Yeah. That absolutely makes sense. That also like leads me to the next thing. You just won the Billy T. How does that feel? Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting, because you don't really know how like I don't know. I don't really know how to explain. When you get announced, it's very
hmm
overwhelming. You know what I
hmm
mean? Like I didn't expect it to be well, I didn't expect to I knew I was in the running, but
hmm
I was pretty far away from expecting to win.
hmm
And then yeah, it is super overwhelming when you get announced. And it's actually super nice to have the people that were there. Obviously like to be able to do it with Booth and Jack from Delightful and Lisa,
hmm
who were like people that who were kind of starting in stand
Yeah.
up at least at the same time that I was. It felt like
hmm
for us it was like this big journey, and then to have David and Itai there as well.
hmm
Those guys are a couple of the guys that I see the most in Auckland too, and honestly, it was yeah, it was. I can't imagine because I've heard that some years it can be quite tense between
Yeah.
the people, but no, this time around it was very nice to have like such a cool group, you know.
Yeah, for sure. I was seeing like a lot of and posts and talking with, I talked with David and Jack and Booth as well, and I don't know Lisa as well, or Itai, but they were all like, yeah, it's such a good group to have. We're all friends.
Mm,
No matter who wins, we're gonna be like stoked. And particularly 2 years ago when I was in Wellington when we were first doing the podcast, I think you introduced me, or like we were all in the same room with Booth and Lisa. And so it makes absolute sense that you're like, oh, all my friends are here and we're all supporting each other, which is so great.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And also for international listeners that don't know, the Billy T Award is basically an award to an up and coming comic through the New Zealand Comedy Fest that happens every year here. It's a big fuss.
yeah. But it's
Yeah.
like it's a
hmm
unique award in the sense where you actually get nominated like 7 months before they announce who wins, or October to May or
hmm
whatever that gap is. Yeah, which is I feel like is different from a lot of other awards where people don't find out they're nominated until either their show is nearly finished or, you
Yeah.
know, they're actually already done.
Yeah, 100%. You generally are um like it's the awards are announced like 2 weeks before the finish of the festival, whereas this you have like, okay. And I feel like that would add to the pressure of like, I have a few months to figure out and to freak out about it and then, really plan my show and
Yeah,
stuff like
and just
that.
have that little thing.
hmm
Yeah,
But I would
yeah.
also say it makes sense because I think they're like scouting out, like, oh, we've seen this person. We think that they would be a good candidate rather than like, okay, whose show did we just see for the first time? And, yada, yada, yada. But I'm
Mm,
not on the board, so I don't know how it works at all. So,
yeah.
Yeah. Anyhow,
Oh, no,
good.
it's very cool. Yes. Anyhow, let's anyhow on.
Yeah, sure, 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 sure. It's very cool. Congrats. But this movie isn't just about comedy and its many accolades you could receive. No, it's about movies as well. What's the first memory you have of being in the cinema?
You know what? I think it's either it was like I don't know if this is the first memory, but this is definitely the memory that was kind of like overwhelming. Is I saw there were two movies and I don't know which one happened first. One was Treasure Planet.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and seeing that on the big screen when you're a kid. And what a film to see on a big
Hmm.
screen. That is
Oh,
like an IMAX worthy film
yeah,
because
it's
like it
incredible.
is, yeah, it's in space, like the proportions are crazy. Was it Pixar was doing this weird thing where they had like this 3D sort of animation added to their 2D kind of world. So
Mm-hmm.
it was like it was very it was unreal and like a very like captivating story. Treasure Planet still holds up today.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one is El Dorado,
Hell yeah.
which I remember seeing in the cinema. Yeah. And that's another one where it's like, and also you watch El Dorado now and you're like, damn, they really gave that girl a skimpy costume.
Yeah,
Like,
100%. It's definitely like pushing the edges of what could be a children's film.
yeah, you know how sometimes you watch back like kids' films and be like,
Hmm.
oh, these are a few jokes that they left in for the parents or something.
Hmm.
For that one, they were like, this is for anyone who wants to see this, and they are gonna love that, yo.
True. There's like an implied blowjob as well, which is crazy.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
it's pretty wild. And it makes sense because that was like the first DreamWorks film besides Prince of Egypt. Those were the two they were working on at the same time, which is
Oh
crazy.
my God. And there is
Yeah.
no implied blowjobs in Prince of Egypt at all.
Thank
There is
God.
nothing going up the River Nile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. And like, so I feel like they were like, we're an alternative to Disney. Let's be a little like zoop zoop zoop, little hornier. But yeah, that's great. Treasure Planet is, I think, a really underrated Disney film. It's incredible. I love it so much.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I played the video game too. I just love
Oh,
Treasure Planet.
yeah. I want to go there. If you like Treasure Planet, you might like they just released a couple months ago Skeleton Crew, which is a Star Wars pirate adventure starring Jude
Oh.
Law and some kids. It's really fun. I'd recommend it.
Yeah, and I'm not usually a Star Wars guy.
Mm, could be fun. I don't know. When you go to the cinema now, do you have a go-to snack that you either bring or order?
I do like the big popcorn.
Okay.
I think the big popcorn is like it does get you through. It's a real time consuming snack. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
So
could smash back a bag of chips real easy that will like not make it through the trailers.
mhm.
Popcorn makes you take your time.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, with the holes and everything, you're like, it's enough crunch that you're like, I can't put 17 of these in my mouth without fucking up my entire mouth.
No, because it becomes cardboard. Like
Mhm.
it's like I don't even know if it's like it's so crazy because it's like so buttery and whatever that you've just like it's covering the flavor of popcorn. I don't even know what popcorn on its own tastes like. You just kind of got that crazy cinema flavor that they add to it and they
Mhm.
douse it and that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I think popcorn tastes like a communion wafer, which is to say nothing. Like it feels
Yeah.
like styrofoam if it doesn't have anything
Yeah,
on
yeah.
it.
This is the body of Christ, and he
Yeah.
had no flavor.
Yeah.
Like he
Which
had
is
all
how you
that
know
olive
Jesus was
oil and
white.
stuff around it.
Yeah.
This is what the podcast is really about.
Yeah. It's me trying to enforce that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. The temptation of Christ is just somebody with a little bit of rosemary or something. Like,
The temptation for spices. 100%. Yeah. That's good. So that's good. Popcorn is a classic. I do also like that you specify like it's the big popcorn. Get this medium and small shit out of my face. Got to be a big popcorn.
no, it's funny. I'm not even doing it on flavor. I'm totally choosing my snack based on time.
Yeah, and you're not wrong because, like you said, like you bust through a bag of chips before the preview's done. You want a snack through the entire thing. You got to
Yeah.
do it. Are you ready for
Yeah, I'm
some?
trying to think what
Oh,
else
go
would
ahead.
even be good for that. You know what I mean? Like, I would love if you could just go in with
Mm.
like, pasta and you could just kind of like, because that would take its time and, it's not too noisy and
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, I would say gobstoppers or any sort of like taffy is always really good as well because you are
I did
like,
think of gobstoppers, yeah, but then you just kind of hold it. You
yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah. And then just God forbid something funny happens in the movie, you don't want to laugh and get it down your throat and choke and die. But yeah, something that takes a lot of time. I agree. There's a couple cinemas that you'll let you order a full meal at the place, and I'm just like, I can't be eating a Cobb salad while watching the Avengers. It doesn't make any sense to my mind, you know?
No.
Yeah.
I
Too much.
think, yeah, I know what you mean. And yeah, because we made the mistake of going into a cinema recently with like a tea, like
Mm,
like hot tea,
hmm.
without a place to really like put it down. And it was like in the teapot that you would then pour into the cup, but like also having to move past like the 15 people to get to your seat, you know. But yeah. And pouring a little bit on yourself, but not being
Of
able to
course.
make the noise because it's like,
Hmm.
well, this is the scene where the main character's daughter passes away, and you're like, oh
Hmm.
my God, can't
You
make
start
this about
crying.
me. Oh yeah, it was a very tearful. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you start, and you're
Um,
like, oh, no, 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 it's the movie. It's the movie. I'm not in pain at all. Yeah, that's funny.
yeah.
I
God forbid it show emotion for the tea. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's so interesting that like you had a whole pot of tea rather than just like getting you like a thermos of it. That's so interesting. That's wild to
Well,
me.
we bought it. It was
Ah,
Lighthouse Cinema, and Lighthouse always have to be a little more avant-garde, I guess.
sure, push the envelope. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, I will say this, having recently seen a few films in the cinema here in New Zealand, the way how polite and respectful everyone is so frankly frightening to me. Like I saw Revenge of the Sith in theaters and there was no like clapping, no saying lines along with it. They were just like, "Oh yes, a movie we've all seen and enjoy." Whereas like I
Hmm.
saw Phantom Menace in New York and everyone was like hooting and hollering and I'm like, "Wow, cultures be different." I don't know.
New Zealanders don't grow up with that same
Hmm.
like cultural appreciation, or like social cultural appreciation.
Sure.
Um I feel like Americans know how to go watch a play or something, you know what I mean? And like know
Hmm.
how to hype everybody up because like so much of their culture is hype, you know?
Yeah, we are a very enthusiastic bunch, aren't we?
For sure, for sure. And
Yeah.
like obviously that has some negative side effects, but
What are you
I
talking
do
about?
like land of the free, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Um No, but I actually always like that Americans like express their opinions about things. You know what I mean? Because then it means that people are actually having like interesting conversations. But quite a lot of the stuff they say is like you're like, oh man, I wouldn't express that opinion. But
Yeah.
good on your confidence.
Yeah, maybe keep that one to yourself, mate. Yeah, for sure. It's a fine line to walk, that I've bumped into as well, because you get a fair amount of like, oh yeah, because you're not sure how to people aren't sure how to calibrate towards enthusiasm here sometimes. But anyhow, moving
This
on
is what
to
the podcast should be
yeah.
called. Anyhow.
Anyhow, listen, I'm from yeah, get my ass. Um, but yeah, listen, I'm from the Midwest. It's how we denote when we're like, okay, moving on. It's
Hmm.
I think the British go right, um, and then they
I
move
say,
on.
oh well.
Oh
Yeah.
well. Oh
Anytime there's a
well.
gap in the speech, it's like, oh well. And
Hmm.
then that's how you move on.
Yeah. Anywho, is that better?
It's way better.
Anywho, moving on to some movie trivia. As I ask everybody here, what is movie?
Mm,
Mm,
the movie. I
yeah,
guess
what is
for a
movie?
long time, people were just looking at pictures and they
Yeah.
were like, yeah, this is just a picture. And then movies came along and they were like, whoa, these pictures, like, they're really switching up. They're really changing what they're doing. And they had to do it in the most descriptive change that was to those pictures, is that they were moving.
Mm, mm. Yeah. I reminds me of, it makes me think of two things. One, like just like people in caves going, this buffalo is good, but I wish it could move. And then also famously,
Those cave people, yeah,
she's
they're
like,
so critical.
yeah, like, oh, man, good job, Oog, but would really prefer some sense, some mise en scene, here. And then famously, David Lynch, the way he got to movies is he like was doing a painting and then a breeze happened and he's like, oh, what if the painting moved? Oh, cinema. Interesting. So you're not
It's
wrong. I think you're very
yeah.
astute, actually, in your answer.
Oh my God, that is crazy because David Lynch, he was around when movies were still they were happening, you know.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, he wasn't like he was that was like in the 70s. He was like, or whatever. Um, Here's the next question, which is what is my favorite movie? Basically,
Um you strike me as someone who would want ah you know what? I feel like I feel like you liked Woody Allen for a bit, and then you had to be like, I can't do it. I feel like I feel like you were big into Annie Hall. You were dressing like her, like yeah.
Here's the thing, Juani. You're not right, but I will say this. I love Diane Keaton and her style. You better believe I own a couple of waistcoats and big hats. 100%. I
Oh
have
yeah,
seen
yeah. Her fashion was good. Do you know what I
yes.
mean in those
Oh,
films?
100%. I will say this. I have seen two Woody Allen films. And
Ooh,
yeah, they are Annie Hall and Midnight in Paris. And I was like, I think I understand what this guy's doing and the subversion of it, and I think I'm good.
yes. Obviously, don't buy any Woody Allen things or like support him or whatever.
Yeah.
But if you were going to illegally download a film
Hmm.
and really just watch it for the cinematography, I would definitely recommend Manhattan because that's like a comedy film where they got in like a super auteur cinematographer and like it's actually beautiful as a movie. Like it's crazy.
Hmm.
Okay, what is your favorite film though? You talked about watching Avengers before, but I don't think that you would do that as your favorite film. You said Star Wars. I don't know if you're like a fandom big movie as your favorite thing. I would say your favorite movie. Ooh, I could imagine that you would actually have like a classic sort of Disney movie as your favorite. I could almost
Ooh,
imagine like Pocahontas could be your favorite film.
I gotta say, it all makes sense, but it's not quite right. I can bring up my Letterboxd 4 right now if you want. Are you on
Yeah.
Letterboxd?
No,
It, listen, it's a New Zealand product. It's all I have to say.
gotta support
Um,
local.
Support local. My four favorites are you're not wrong with the animation, just kind of wrong production company. Uh Kiki's Delivery Service, which is a Hayao
Oh,
Miyazaki
of
film.
course. Yeah.
Love it. Whale Rider, beautiful film.
Mm.
Fellowship of the Ring, and Aardman's Flushed Away.
Oh, very cool with the rats in the toilet. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a comfort film for me for sure. I'm like, I've seen that film probably over 20 times. because I was just been like, I
Wow.
gotta fall asleep. Let me just flick on Flushed Away real quick.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. I can see why you came to New Zealand, you know.
Mm,
That's quite a lot of NZ, you got
yeah.
the NZ website with the NZ films. Yeah.
Yeah. Love it
Oh,
down here.
wow.
Yeah. And like yeah, yeah, yeah. I think New Zealand is incredibly influential in terms of entertainment, but particularly cinema, in a way that's like really beautiful and fascinating because, obviously it's a rather small country, but like between Waititi and Jackson alone, like that's a
The pretty
influence on a
heavy
whole,
hitters, eh?
yeah, whole generation
Oh,
of
and
filmmakers.
yeah. Oh my God, what's her name? Piano.
Hmm.
Um, the director. She did the piano, and she did
Hmm.
man something else that won an Oscar.
Yeah, piano. I can't remember. I'm gonna look it up right now. Piano movie is directed by, come on, man. Jane Champion. Yeah, Jane Campion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she won some. Yeah, she's won two Oscars, didn't she?
Yeah. Power of the Dog as well. Amazing. You love to see it. What's your favorite movie, would you say? Flipping it on you.
I'd say my comfort watch. I actually watched it the other night. Was I really like that movie. Don't Think Twice.
Oh, with Mike Birbiglia's film?
That's the one. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's good. Very wholesome, very heartwarming.
Yeah, and what I really like about it is like it's one of those films where all the characters like nobody actually does anything wrong. You know what
Mm,
I mean? Throughout the
mhm,
film, like nobody has a particularly, maybe you could be like, oh, this character has this annoying trait or whatever, but everybody is mostly like kind of just good people kind of going about their things, and then the
yeah.
world around them creates this sort of tension, which kind
Hmm.
of builds up quite a bit. Um but it's also very funny, and I think it has like quite a cool emotional like love story in there too. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
it's kind of like I don't know. I think it's a really nice film. I used to watch the movie. It was a doco on um Bob Dylan. It was
Mm,
called I think it was a similar name. It was like Don't Look Back.
mm.
Do you know that one?
I don't know, unfortunately.
It's like really old school. It was like in the days where cameras, it was like one of the first films where cameras and microphones were kind of attached.
Oh.
So, and like being able to be carried around. And it's really cool because they don't make documentaries like that anymore, really, where it's like, it really is that fly on the wall kind of style, where they just kind of follow him around. But it's really cool. He's already famous,
Hmm.
and he's just started to play electric guitar. So you actually have this footage of people coming out of his concerts being like, he is like, you know, the whole Judas narrative. Yeah, you
Hmm.
really
Hmm.
see people coming through like that. And it's so cool because like, he's just like doing his thing with his like artist mates going around town to town. And it's like, it has this really interesting kind of ending where they're driving off from some gig and he's like reading this newspaper article about how, he's like some sort of rebel, and he has all this sort of like, it was this article talking about this whole big cultural power that he has, but like you kind of watching it as like he's just a man sort of thing.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, I really like that film. It's not a very funny film to talk about though, I guess.
Sure, but
Yeah,
it's,
it's not flushed away.
but no, that sounds really interesting because it is like this dichotomy of like we do put like artists, particularly ones that are like as influential as Dylan, on like sort of these pedestals, and then it's like, he still, had diarrhea at one point in his life. He's a man, he's like a
Yeah,
person.
yeah.
So that sounds very interesting as a concept. That sounds really cool. It was called Don't Look Back.
Yes, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, and it
Mm.
starts out with that music video of him like holding up the words, you know,
Oh, yeah,
and he
Subterranean,
just
Homesick
drops the
Blues.
cards as the things. Yeah, yeah. His real Love Actually moment, you know.
There we go. That's really funny. I like that. Someone please edit those two together. Oh, that's good. Are you ready for our random word?
Yes,
Oh,
yes. Let's
sorry.
get into the movie.
Sorry, I have one more question, which is normally I ask why is Austin Powers so sexy? You've been on it, so I'm not going to ask you that, but I'm going to say what do you think Austin Powers would think is sexy about you?
Probably the amount of chest hair I have. We are
Sure,
we're
sure.
very matchy. Yeah.
Okay.
He is a
So
chest hair icon. Yeah.
yeah, 100%. So your theory is that he's self-obsessed enough that he's like, ah, yes, we're a mirror image, therefore I would find you attractive, or like in the at least the chest hair way.
I think so. I mean, like, I've got a bit of a V-neck going now, which
Yeah,
is, because I'm at the house,
yeah.
this is where the hairs roam free. Like, this is, yeah.
True, true, true. I don't think there's anything wrong with chest hair, and I think it's good. I think it's great. I do think that sometimes though you'll see like an interview with like Robin Williams or whatever, and he's wearing like a crew cut, and it's still shooting out the top, and I'm like, wow, really powerful.
Yes. Well, chest hair has pretty much disappeared from like any sort of body hair has kind of like disappeared from definitely movies. Like,
Yeah,
wow, I mean, you can't imagine. I mean, imagine Captain America with a little bit of upper arm here. You know what I mean? It wouldn't
yeah.
happen. You know.
It won't happen. I would think I mean, I guess Henry Cavill when he was playing Superman had a bit, but even then, like, not really. I don't know. It's definitely gone away.
I
I think
do
it should come
remember that.
back.
Yeah.
It should definitely come back. Make,
Yeah. I think it'll be. I don't know. It feels like the body positivity movement has kind of like slowed down while bigger things are happening. You know what I mean?
fair enough. It's not the most pressing issue, to be fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. Make Wolverine hairy again, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Oh my God. Yeah.
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 Yeah, have you seen those old school things of like Wolverine in like 2003 movie and
Yeah.
he's like comes out and he's like I suppose what you would describe as a pretty regular looking guy, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And then he
Yeah.
becomes this like steroided kind of monster that
Yeah.
Marvel has created. Yeah.
Truly, truly. And it's like so indicative of like how superhero films have changed. But like in that first X-Men movie, he's just like kind of in shape and he has all this chest hair and he's like a very like I don't know, like almost Kurt Russell size where he's like, yeah, he just takes care of himself, which I think is more believable if you are like living forever essentially. You're not going to the gym regularly.
No, I mean he does all he does is drink and smoke. Yeah.
What's he pumping iron with we fucking come on, man. All right. The word for today is exclude. Exclude.
Wow. This does feel
Mm.
like one of those like you know how there are those horror films where it was the kid who was bullied in intermediate or
Yeah.
something, and then they
Yeah.
come back and you see them and they're like real nice.
Mm-hmm.
I I think this is a psychological horror. So
Ooh.
yeah, we have a character who he's got he's got like a good job, okay? This is the character who everything's working out for him right now. Okay. He's got a good job, got a beautiful girlfriend, got a nice dog, and then all of a sudden at his workplace comes uh Jeremy. Jeremy? Is that a
Jeremy.
bullyable name? Yeah, Jeremy. Yeah,
Yeah.
anyone.
Yeah.
Jeremy.
Mm-hmm.
Scare me, Jeremy. Scare me, Jeremy.
Jeremy. He's a
Yeah.
scary kid, yeah. Or
Yeah.
was he's like off, like into bats or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. And he joins this workplace and he's kind of
Hmm.
like he's like all nice now. And it seems like everything's kind of worked out for Scare Me, Jeremy. And he's like, he doesn't even mention how bad the main character bullied him in school. You know
Hmm.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, I'm thinking that kind of vibe with Exclude.
Mm.
What's your pitch?
I just really like that. I don't really have I imagine them working at a cafe and then slowly like I feel like his dog starts getting sick kind of mysteriously.
Yeah.
And
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 then
I
he takes
think
him to the vet, and the
mhm,
vet's like, "Do you feed your dog like, do you feed your
poison?
dog like eggshells?" Yeah. Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Oh, just poison.
Yeah. There seems to be a bunch of nails in this dog. I don't.
Do you have a bunch of bottles in your house with like a skull and crossbones and XXX? Because I wouldn't give that to your dog.
No, but what's this eggshells thing? Is that bad for dogs?
I can't imagine it's good for dogs. I
I
was
mean,
just
fair
trying to
enough.
think like, yeah, what's like a random thing? I guess chocolate. Like,
Oh
yeah, yeah.
yeah, true. Yeah. Chocolate would be good. Like a slow sort of like where it's like
Because
not
they're at
a
a cafe.
mm-hmm. Because the thing that
Yeah.
actually kills and also makes cats sick as well, but the thing that really upsets the stomach is actually there's enough caffeine in chocolate that it gets their heart rate too high. And so they kind of freak
Wow.
out. So maybe he's putting espresso beans in the dog's food to try and slowly make it sick.
I love the cafe vibe. The cafe
Mm-hmm.
vibe is great. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And then you can
Oh,
just grind
okay.
up the beans and it goes straight in. Yeah. Um, and I feel
And that's
like,
perfect too.
mm-hmm,
Yeah, because Scare Me Jeremy can do that to the dog,
mm-hmm.
and people would see it as we need the main character needs to have a name. The guy
Oh,
whose cafe this is.
this cafe is owned by, I think, I think it would be funny if the guy's name was Barry and they were calling him Scary Barry, and then he like diverted it onto Jeremy in a worse way as a kid.
Wow. Yes.
So, you know, it's one of those classic like, well, I'm getting bullied, so I'm gonna like trickle down, and then everyone piled on Jeremy, and he was like, phew, you know.
Yeah. Perfect. I think yeah. So Barry's Good Luck Cafe because like things have been working out for Barry, and yeah, and then the dog has too much caffeine. That's like to pump, 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 pump,
Hmm.
and yeah, Jeremy's just kind of there, and he does that
Hmm.
little stare as
Hmm.
everybody's surrounding the dog while it kind of has like a little dog heart attack.
Yeah, it's very sad, very upsetting to dog owners, obviously, and to non-dog owners. It's never good to watch a dog die.
That'll get in
Um,
the letterbox reviews.
true, true. You want to stir up enough, controversy with these things to get some traction online. Um, and I think what would be fucked up is if everyone's around the dog, everyone's scared. Jeremy comes in and saves the dog somehow, like gets it to vomit, so it's like stop, it can kind of recover, to then build trust with Barry, to then really screw with
Mm,
his whole thing over the next couple of months,
interesting.
you
Yeah,
know?
because usually in these films, it's the one person who seems to suspect the bad guy is the guy that bullied him in high school,
Hmm.
you know. Whereas in this one, you're saying he trusts him, and he's actually like they're actually building up a good rapport and everything, and
Hmm.
then become friends. See, this is our
Yeah.
point of difference with this film. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I can imagine that they do become friends, saves the dog, they go for a walk. He's got his own little dog,
Hmm.
um, which is like got its own problems, and he's like, oh, well, he got into the coffee beans one time, and we were just so lucky, because we were able to like figure out how to get him to vomit or whatever, take him to the vet just in time, and they told us this thing. They become good friends, and then he's like, so how long have you been seeing you know, Apple, little Apple? Because that's his girlfriend's name,
Little
Apple.
Apple.
Applegate? Yeah, Little Applegate.
Lil
Lily Applegate. That's her
Lily
name.
Applegate.
She she's the
But
only
Nick
character with a last name. Yeah.
but growing up the nickname was Lil Apple. So
Lil Apple, yeah. And this
yeah.
was like before every rapper was Lil something. So when that came along, she was like, oh man, I'm not gonna get rid of my nickname. And
Yeah.
that's like a real point of humor in the film. Everybody's like, hey, Lil Apple, just spit me some rhymes. And she's like, I don't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
they're at the dog park and they're like, "How long you been seeing Little Apple?" And then he's like, we've been together for like 8 years. I'm thinking about getting married, And he's like, "Wow, that's so interesting, with everything that's gone on." And he's like, "What do you mean, what's going on?" He's like, "Oh, I shouldn't have said anything. Shouldn't have said anything." And then he kind of drops a hint, and he knows something about Little Apple. This guy
Mm-hmm.
is this guy is a crazy stalker guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then that creates the tension between Little Apple and
Yeah.
Barry, Scary
Very
Barry. Yeah.
scary, very little apple. I love these names. They're so good.
Barry?
Um, Scary Berry, Scare Me Jeremy, Little Apple. Ugh, killer. We love it. What should the thing be? I feel like it's got to be, I don't know, it's got to be like something about that's not like unforgivable, but like fucked up that she kept from him. Like maybe she has a
Yeah,
kid that he doesn't know about or something like that. Or what
that's
about
pretty
this?
fucked up, man.
Yeah. What about
Uh, oh
she's
yeah.
been already married once? She's still technically married.
Oh, that'd be
So they
great.
can't get married because they're technically not separated, legally.
Yeah, yeah.
What
Like
about
she's
that?
in one of those states where you get married at 16 because your parents have made you marry this. She's Mormon.
Oh, I like that. She's Mormon.
Yeah, that's why she's kind of got like a crazy name. Do Mormons have? Yeah,
I like that. And I like also because famously Mormons don't drink coffee, that she's like, yeah, I just don't support the cafe.
that's like her going crazy.
Yeah, she's like, I don't like it. Oh, I wish you would pick something different. Uh, I like that she's secretly Mormon. Oh,
Well, she doesn't have to be anymore. Yeah.
mm,
Also, I feel like the way we could go is like it's so obvious to go like a very like classic bad way, like oh she had some other guy for
hmm.
whatever. But I feel like it'd be more fun if it was just something like ridiculous. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Like she is like you know on the weekends and things. She is really into like
Pickleball.
pickleball, yeah. Yeah, she
Mm.
has like a really strong social media following from pickleball stuff, but it's like it's kind of embarrassing. Like he's just Barry is like he's a nice guy mostly, but he just can't handle cringe. And she's always like, "Oh, top 5 pickleball moments this weekend." And it's like a shot of her going like, "Fuck
Oh.
yeah."
He's like, it's giving me the
Lou
ick. I can't
Apple.
help it. Ah, yeah, that's really good that he can't stand.
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
way better. If like the big thing that stops him from wanting to get married is like, yeah, the cringe and ick. Yeah.
I think then Scare Me, Bury Me could have been like, oh, you're doing okay social media wise, but I like can help you get to like 100K or whatever. And he does to like further sabotage Barry's life.
Yes. Oh my God. He's like, yo, I've got a costume you can wear, and you should
Mm,
try this catchphrase. People
hmm.
love catchphrases.
They do.
Yo, my pickle ballers. That's actually too cool. That's actually too cool. Yeah. It's not actually cringe. I was trying to say something cringe, and I actually said something really cool. Yo, what's up, my pickle ballers? Little apple on the racket. Damn.
That's really good. That's really good. I love
Yeah, because I
that.
can imagine the social media post. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh man.
100%. Uh, I think, yeah, I
Maybe my
think
pickle ticklers. Yeah, I
Pickle
think pickle
Ticklers is,
ticklers. Yeah.
yeah, that's not great. Pickle Ticklers is funny. Pickle Ballers is that is like actually very fun. Pickle Ticklers is very embarrassing to be
Yeah,
involved
because
with.
it's like she doesn't even get that there's a little bit of a double entendre there or something. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. I like that a lot. And so I think there should be like more tension stoked. It's like we are like really getting in, at least in my mind, because it's like, a psychological thriller or whatever. But it is also slowly kind of turning into like an Othello situation with Iago, where he's like, this bitch is crazy, and he's just trying to ruin this guy's life from the inside out, which I think
Yeah.
is really silly and weird. I feel like there's
Yes,
got to
but
be.
also
Mhm.
I like that it's very serious for most of the film, and then you just have like one big plot point be incredibly silly, and it's just
Yeah.
like, and it's just treated super seriously. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like, it's just like his therapist is. There's a scene with a therapist where it's like, "Are we working on your cringe response again?" And he's like, "I just can't get past it." You know, I
It's
just, I just look at it and think, "Ugh."
it's like Tony Soprano. I gotta tell you, I look at it and I can't stand it. It gives me the ick. I don't know. Yeah, that's very good. I like that a lot that he goes to a therapist to try and get over his partner's cringe posts online. Here's the thing. I'm sure that is a real discussion happening with some therapist right now as we speak.
Oh, my partner's so cringe. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. How do I get past it? Oh my
Hmm.
God. Yeah, I would love. Yeah. Oh man, that's a great one.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I feel like we have to have a
Uh,
third thing where it all comes crashing down, though. But you sounded like you had an
yeah.
idea.
Well, I feel like, okay, it's called Exclude.
Hmm.
Um, Barry's Lucky Cafe where everyone's welcome feels like a good place to start, you know?
Hmm.
So Lil Apple turns out she's actually secretly super into pickleball, nighttime pickleball, so she can get away. She's got the pickle ticklers that Scary Me Jeremy has helped turn into like a big business now. It's like
Hmm.
a big, big business, and Barry can't get past the cringe. So I feel
Hmm.
like it has to culminate in a way where Barry's cringe avoidance means that he gets out of it, but everybody else gets together.
Sure, that he's being excluded for the first time in his life, and he
Yeah,
doesn't know how to handle it. I think that makes a lot of sense. I feel like over a course of a couple of weeks, like her Little Apple's popularity grows and grows and grows to the point where like she's doing like signings and stuff, and whenever she shows up to the cafe, everyone's paying attention to her and not Barry, and it like really drains on him psychologically, and then to the point where he like I think he starts an anonymous account to start commenting on her videos to be like, this is cringe,
yeah.
this is cringe, this is cringe. And does he become an incel? Does he accidentally become like fall into like a forum post?
That's interesting. I think yes. I think he
Okay.
does become, yeah, and he's just like,
He
oh
isolates
yeah.
himself.
He isolates himself, he excludes himself, and he does start commenting. But I was also thinking we could take it in like a route where all of a sudden pickleball kind of takes off in America, and it just like actually becomes a really big. But
Oh,
like not, I know it's taking off,
yeah.
amongst those age 40 to 65, but like,
Sure.
you know what I
Zoomers
mean? Like
aren't
I think like LeBron
exactly.
James leaves the NBA to become the face of pickleball. And that's
Yeah.
crazy because pickleball is smaller tennis and he's like already so large.
I like that a lot. I think getting LeBron James is so funny visually. I think that's so good. And then I think
LeBron
getting like
James,
Vanessa
yeah,
Williams, you know,
yeah.
tennis expert to be able to like be
And
like
we need a
match of the
new,
century.
who is the new short celebrity? Danny DeVito can only be the new little guy, famous person for
Mm.
so long. I know Sabrina Carpenter's small, but she's not like, we could have Sabrina. Sabrina, LeBron, Lil Apple. I think that's, yeah.
Yeah, I think so. It's just to clarify, is Sabrina Carpenter playing LeBron James in pickleball?
Yes.
That's
So
so funny.
because it's like celebrity pickleball to like
Hmm.
show how we've made it,
Yeah.
celebrity poker.
Hmm.
Yeah. This
And
movie,
Lil,
yeah.
Lil Apple is like a commentator. I feel like she's like
Yes.
hosting
Yeah.
the event.
Yeah. In like a very social media way. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? It's
She's
a new
going
age of
live.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah. What were you gonna say? This movie is what?
Oh, this movie, I love that. I think it starts off as like because when we started doing it, I was like, I feel like I'm describing a movie that I've seen 100 times. And now that we're
Mm-hmm.
like pretty deep into it, I'm like, nobody's made this movie before. Okay. Nobody starts out with the psychological thriller about the kid who was bullied in high school and then comes back and ruins somebody's life. And like the dog is just fine for the rest
The
of the
dog is
film,
just
by the
fine.
way.
Yeah.
It
He
was
just gets sick
like,
and then he's fine.
yeah, we even have a guy who looks right in the camera and is like, okay, letterbox, just be okay. Just be chill. Don't be like, oh, the dog dies in this one. Please don't watch it. It's like you can totally watch it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's all good. Um, does I feel like obviously at a certain point, Little Apple and Barry have to separate, right? Because she's becoming too famous and it's just too much for him, and he's like spiraling and has become chronically online.
Yeah,
And I
he
feel
became an
like
incel. It's like affecting the coffee.
I think
Um,
she takes the
yeah,
dog too, which is
yeah,
the
yeah.
worst part of it. She's like, I can't believe my dog is
Oh
gone.
my God. And the dog's like chasing the little pickleball around. 'Cause that's like super cute, you know? And
Mm-hmm.
LeBron James is like, ooh. That's his one line in the film. The dog takes the pickleball and LeBron James is like, hey, I was
Hey.
playing here.
That's so good. I feel
Yeah.
like the dog should be named after some kind of fruit as well. Because we do actually, funnily enough, have apple and berry, which are both veg, you know?
Oh my God. Okay. What is a good
Mango,
fruit for mango? That's a good one.
mango the
Yes.
dog, and it's like a little
Yeah.
corgi that's like cream colored.
Yeah. Yeah, mango persimmon. Those are
Yeah, that's
yeah.
great. Cool, cool. So how does it end, do you think? Does he just
I
end in
think
misery or what?
yeah, I think, if it starts off
Mm.
as so he it slowly deteriorates as he kind of like can't get past the cringe of Lil Apple and he starts going online and he's like, Pickle Ticklers is a gross name, like and then he's like, "You're ugly," and then she finds out that it's him because Barry is the one that figures out that that social media post is linked, which we
Mm.
forgot to mention, but it wasn't that big a deal. The LeBron James line was way more important to mention, I
It's true.
reckon. And yeah, and if it starts out as Barry's Lucky Cafe where everyone is welcome, I think he should like spray paint underneath that slogan. It should be like, uh, where everyone is welcome except people who bang, only incels only, and
Except
that's
people who
where
bang.
exclude, yeah. So that's where the exclude part of the movie title comes in, you know.
I like that a lot. That is just like, listen, I don't care who you are, but if you're fucking get out of the cafe. That's really good. Does Scare Me Jeremy end up with Low Apple romantically, or is it just like, hey, they're cool and they're friends or whatever? And is there a confrontation between Barry and Scare Me Jeremy to be like, this was all my
To be
doing, I
like,
caused this?
yeah, your classic sort of, I just called you Scary Me Jeremy because they was calling me
Mm-hmm.
like Krabby Barry or something,
Mm-hmm.
It was like, yeah, and I needed to get it off me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I think there is one. It's somewhere between I suppose it would be in the scene after the social media is like where he's kind of figured out who Barry is on social media and taken
Mm-hmm.
it to Lil Apple, who in my head is Sabrina Carpenter now. I know she was like playing herself, but she became Lil Apple in this film now.
I think that's good.
Which seems like a great name.
Yeah.
Uh who had a perfect casting. Okay. I don't want
100%.
to pat myself on my back too much,
You
but for
should.
that character, yeah. Um yeah, but I don't know how to kind of escalate that kind of
Mm.
confrontation. It's just like
You know what I think would be good? Rather than a direct confrontation, I feel like, even though I'm the one that suggested, I'm backpedaling now. I do think what would be good would be there's a moment where Barry is hate watching a Little Apple on social media, and Jeremy is there, and he just like looks directly in the camera and gives like the camera a wink, and just Barry figures it out from there. Because he's like,
Mm,
up until that point, he's like going through all of his um like records from the company, and he's like, "Oh, everything was going really well up until this guy showed up in my life."
yes.
And then he slowly pieces it together, and then he watches it, and then, um, Jeremy gives a little wink to the camera, and then it cuts to black, and it's like, oh no, he fucking figured it out. And
Yeah,
now he's just
yeah.
like
And they
miserable for the rest of his life.
I like that because then the twist is that Jeremy's been helping out with the social media. It's like we
Hmm.
don't know that until that point. It's like Sabrina Carpenter's character going, "Yeah, thank you guys so much for hitting like 100,000,000 views or 100 million followers," and then it shows, and it couldn't have done it without my social media guru Barry, and then he's like, "Here's a little wink."
Hmm.
Um, yeah, and then you
Yeah.
just show, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Oh, Jeremy, yeah, and then
Yeah.
Barry gets shown like enraged.
Hmm.
Yeah, and then credits roll, and it's LeBron James, the dog, and Sabrina Carpenter, and I suppose a different celebrity. I suppose it'd have to
Yeah.
be like Ariana Grande or something. But
Y-
actually, yeah, or
Like,
whoever the most current short famous person is going to be, whoever
mhm.
today's Danny DeVito is, you know.
Trying to really think who is like a very short little guy. We don't have a lot of short kings around much these days. Not short like Danny, at least.
No,
Mm.
yeah, and it's like we need a new one. I mean, even if you were gonna go to like Peter Dinklage, he's been around for like a while now.
Yeah, it's true.
He is established.
Yeah, and yeah, he's been working for. Is there a very small man currently working? I'm trying to think, and it's really like not coming to mind, unfortunately. Hmm.
Wow.
Actors are always smaller than you think, though. They're always shorter than you think. They just look big on the screen,
Do
you
you think
know?
that's true? I feel like actors are always tall now.
I think they've definitely been getting taller, but I think like Robert Downey Jr. is like my height. He's like 5'7". Al Pacino's like five
Well,
six.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. Let's get Al
but
Pacino in the game.
that's very funny of him just like, wah, wah,
Yeah.
hitting the
Well, it's funny
pickleball
too
bat.
because LeBron James has Al Pacino's line. He's like, "Hey, I'm
Yeah,
playing here."
sure, sure, sure. Yeah, yeah. That's good. Who should play Barry, do you think?
Okay, so Barry, the guy who's got everything under control at the beginning of the
Hmm.
film, I think a great person to play Barry would be um oh, I don't know what kind of characteristics, because in my head it's totally like a Jason Bateman straight man character kind of guy.
Sure,
You know
sure,
what I
sure.
mean?
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, you know, Colin Jost. Could it be Colin Jost?
Sure, yeah. I mean, the age discrepancy between him and Christina Carpenter's Sabrina rather Carpenter is pretty egregious, but I think that also kind of lends itself to the reason he can't. Because here's the thing, he's trying so hard to get the cafe social media going, and he just
Yeah,
can't do it because he's so, he's a millennial, so he's like, I can't post cringe. It's just like, it's just, whereas like Sabrina
yeah.
Carpenter is so young, she just like understands it.
Yeah, and all the other characters in the film also talk about the age gap. Like it's not
Mhm.
unmentioned in this film. It's like this my partner is like, holy, she's so much younger than you. This is creepy. This is
I think
creepy.
when Jeremy first shows up and she goes, "Yeah, this is my partner, Little Apple," and he's just like, "She was in elementary school when we were in high school, dude. What are you talking about? It's
I'm
crazy.
scaring me. I'm scaring me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. You should be fine. Little Apple, indeed. She is very little in more than one way."
yeah, yeah. And
Um,
then that's funny that Jeremy comes through and he's the same age as Colin Jost. So Jeremy, I guess, is Michael Shea. Let's
I
just
was
put
gonna.
them back together.
He's like, "That's fucked up, man." Why are you
Yeah.
doing this? That's really funny as a
But he
concept.
comes in and he's the one that knows social media even better than she does, which is
Hmm.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah, that's funny. That's really good. His therapist, I feel like, should be like more than one scene with
I
him,
think
but
we
I
have to
think
go old school
yeah.
comedian. Old school
Mm,
comedian.
mm.
Um,
Can we get Mel Brooks? He's still
wow.
alive.
Yeah.
So what you're telling me,
I
imagine him trying to talk about
I'm
social
not gonna be
media.
mean. I feel like Mel Brooks doesn't have the face recognition that we need for this.
That is fair enough. Okay. Um, Rosie O'Donnell?
Okay.
Yeah.
Is she I think I know who she is. I
Yeah,
think
she's
yeah.
yeah. I mean, she was really big in the
Oh,
90s. She's back in Just Like That, the latest season, apparently. So she has some clout currently.
Margaret Cho?
Margaret Cho would be very good as well. Yeah, let's do that. Yeah.
Very yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Great.
Let's
You
check a
want
panel. Let's put all of them on. Let's get Ray Romano on there as well. Like,
actually, if I'm being honest, Ray Romano as a therapist would be very good. I just watched a clip from him in The Irishman where he plays a lawyer and he's like really kind of
ah,
straight-laced and he's like, did you do it or whatever, and just him going, so you're saying it's cringe? I don't understand. Like the therapist also has to be like, I don't really understand what you mean. I feel like.
yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah.
I love the idea of Ray Romano telling somebody to work on their confidence as well.
Yeah,
I wish I could
little
do a Ray
like,
Romano voice. Yeah.
all right, Deborah, um, gotta be more confident. It's just Kermit the Frog.
It really was Kermit the Frog, you
Yeah.
know. And he's
Um,
someone who I can imagine telling me to be more confident too.
yeah, you gotta just buck up and, believe in yourself. Yeah, for sure.
That was great. That was so good.
Thank you. Um,
Um,
I think Mike Birbiglia should direct it then, right?
no, I think Mike had one hit and he can stop. He hasn't. I don't know. I'm not giving him a sophomore slump, okay? On this film, I'm getting an
Okay.
experienced director. I'm getting Spike Lee. But then Spike Lee would not love the cast.
No, he would not. He'd be like, why are there so many honkies in this fucking thing?
Because it's about pickleball, Spike.
But it's really funny, actually. I do think as well what would be good, because then he would also elevate it to be like a satire of like, this is how stupid white people are, which I'm always for. Um, but yeah, that's really good. A plus. Are you ready for a lightning round
Yes,
where we
hit
each
me.
get the same word and we do a small pitch? So no, I just did that last time and I don't want to. So it's old. Old is the first word. So for me, old is about a dog that hears it's going to get put down and learns how to
Oh,
take revenge on the owners. It's like a reverse old yeller.
oh, wow. Okay. Old. This is about a sweater that
Okay.
is like it's like the life of the dog, but it's actually just the sweater that watches like the dad and mom and dad like get married and then divorced and then gets put into Goodwill. Yeah,
Oh, that's really
isn't
good.
Old the M. Night Shyamalan movie?
Yeah, yeah. The beach that makes you
Yeah.
old. Yeah, I was immediately like, what's the opposite? I can't just. Um, Next up we have powder. Powder for me is about a county fair in Wisconsin where they're trying to do there's a fried food stand that's trying to win a competition and they are working on what we call funnel cakes, which is just sweet
Mm.
fried bread with a bunch of powdered sugar on top.
Wow, that is
Yeah.
great. And it's like a cooking competition. That sounds
Hmm.
so good. The first thing in my mind was like one of those like um product Genesis films, you know what I mean? Where
Mm-hmm.
it's like, this is the guy who created like powder for your face, and it's like in the 1940s, and they're like, no, everybody, it's going on TV and looking terrible, and it's like, surely there's something we could do. It's like, well, I've been working on this little contraption, and it's yeah, like,
I
wow,
like
dilly
that.
dally, that's some fantastic thing right there. You could change the world.
That's really
Yeah.
good. Next up we have indirect.
Oh
So,
my God, an introvert film,
yeah.
where it's just a bunch of people who, oh my God, I feel like this could be like a really cool short film where
Mm.
nobody is able to say what they mean about anything. It's just
Oh,
like, yeah, just a very like artsy short film where nobody can like, you know, confront anybody about anything. And it's just watching the world slowly fall apart because nobody's able to talk to one another directly. Yeah.
I like that a lot. I like that a lot. For me, indirect is mock doc about someone a filmmaker that he's an older filmmaker and he's doing his last movie. So it's like in director's chair is the full
Mm,
title. But he also is not a very good director, and that's one of the reasons he's stopping is because he doesn't know how to communicate with people. So he is being indirect, and he's also in director's chair. So like it goes in director's chair, and then the indirect gets highlighted in the middle.
exact. Perfect. I see
Yeah.
that. Yeah, yeah.
This is so much fun. Before I let you go, do you want people to know anything about what you have coming up or where they can find you on like social media, playing pickleball or doing whatever?
I will not be taking up pickleball.
Mm.
I'm gonna go to Edinburgh in August. That'll be
Hell yeah.
big. But outside of that, I think I'm kind of yeah. Follow me on social media if you want. Hoani Hotene at Hoani Hotene on Instagram. I don't know. There's not that many Hoanis. There is a more famous Hoani than me on TikTok. It's the French guy who plays Fortnite. If you listen to this and you're like, oh, well, I wish I was listening to a French guy and watching him play Fortnite, go follow at Hoani on TikTok. He's very popular.
You should try to get on his stream.
Oh no,
Double
I can't speak
Hawny.
French and I'm even worse at Fortnite, I'd say. Yeah.
Fair enough, fair enough. Now speaking to you, the listener, you can support this podcast by going to tristanmiller.substack.com, where I post the video of this, an additional bonus podcast called Movies to Fall Asleep To, where I talk to people about their comfort movies. Eventually, I will talk about Flushed Away on that podcast,
Mhm.
as well as also I do film reviews, and you can check that out again. tristanmiller.substack.com helps out heaps. Again, Bonnie, thank you so much for doing this. This has been so much fun. I could not be happier with the film we made. A plus.
A plus. Put it on the top four. Thank you very much.
Yeah.